guys, we're back again for another episode of Real Talk Houston with Carlotta B. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today we have a very special guest in the building with us to come join us on the red sofa. We have singer, entertainment extraordinaire, CEO of Simply Flawless Cosmetics and stupendous makeup artist, Brandi Holmes is in the building, you guys.
That intro makes me sound so big. I love it.
And you're magnificent. You're all of that and more, Brandi. So, Boss Fam, we are very excited to have Brandi here with us today. First, I wanted to say that we're so happy about the George Floyd verdict. It is in.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that, Brandi?
I'm relieved.
Relieved,
yeah,
right?
because I was really following it. I was very invested. It was an emotional roller coaster.
It was.
So to hear that today, I literally screamed in the living room and just like shouted like, thank you, God. Because it just seems like maybe a little bit of change is coming,
yes,
which we
bit
need.
by bit.
Yeah, and hopefully it, lets the other police officers who have that same mindset know we're not taking it no more. You can't do this anymore. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I was excited.
I'm happy about that. Maybe now his family can have just a little bit of peace knowing that justice has been served, at least by that one verdict.
Right.
So
right.
we can move forward with hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Brandi, you are an amazing singer. You have a gifted voice.
Thank you.
First time I heard your voice, I got chills, and I said she's just magnificent. She's a marvelous singer. When did you know that you had that voice?
5 years old,
At
oddly
5,
enough.
early.
Yeah, so I'm a preacher's kid. So, they push you out there early.
Yes, they do.
And I had my first solo in church at 5 years old. I sang a song called I Am a Promise.
Oh, nice.
And from there, it was just like, okay, I guess God gave me something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. But were you in your room?
No, I was on the pulpit. I was in church on the stage saying during offering. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
5 years old.
Yeah, 5.
That's great. I was about the same age. I sang in the choir as well growing up.
Okay.
And my parents were like, you're going to sing in the choir. You're going to be involved in Sunday school. You're going to do the speeches. You're going to vacation Bible school. You're doing all of that.
Yep.
I'm like, yes, Mommy. Yes,
right.
Father.
That's all you could say was
and
yes.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I still sing to this
that
day.
Good foundation.
But not
okay.
like you.
No, we're going to have to get you on the stage.
I'm a shower singer. So when you're singing, what tactics do you use to help you be at your best on stage? And how do you engage the audience when you're performing?
Well, now with where I am in my singing career, the only tactic is to have fun. Like what I used to do before, I used to do all of the vocal exercises and not talk for hours before and wrap my throat up with a scarf and drink tea and lemon. And I did all of the routine stuff, and it would just take the fun out of singing and performing because I was so nervous about hitting every note and remembering every word. And when I came back into singing, because I left for a minute, it's just like, you know what? This is my place to have peace. It's my place to heal. I'm just going to have fun. So I don't really put the pressure on myself. And when I'm up there, I engage with people how I want to be engaged with. These are real everyday people. I'm a real everyday person.
Exactly.
So I talk about real issues. I sing songs that I know either have a message in them or, that people love, like your favorites, your old school favorites.
Exactly. That's wonderful. And every time I've seen you perform, the audience is just totally in the zone, and they're just loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
So was I. So I can relate. I can relate. So you didn't really have to pursue a career in entertainment because it was already in you at a young age.
Right.
Right. So did you get to a point where you said, okay, I think I want to get on stage in different venues, or when you were an adult, did you also perform at church, or do you do both?
Well, I grew up singing in church.
Right,
that was the whole thing. I was the church singer. My mom's also a singer. So that was my foundation and my roots. Now, at 19 was the first time that I was like, okay, I'm going to venture out into this quote unquote secular world, like they used to call it.
Right. That was what I'm getting at. Right.
So I auditioned for American Idol, and I ended up making it to like the top 100. I got voted off right before it goes down to the final 12 of like the show.
Okay.
And then after that, I kind of was like, oh, I'm going to keep trying this competition thing. So I did
Wait, that was at age 19?
That was 19.
American Idol?
Yeah. So
That's
it was a while
amazing.
ago.
That's the one thing I did not know that.
Now that was
slipped by me.
season 2. That was Ruben Studder's season when he won.
Amazing.
So I was on with that season. And then I did it again at 28. So that was a big gap. But in between there, I did a show called Give Me the Mic. I did Live in Hollywood. I did Apollo, like all those different types of things. Yeah, just trying to. And then I was just like, this isn't working for me. So at 26 is when makeup really came into play and took over. I kind of hung up trying to be a professional singer, and I just sung around Houston, Sky Bar, Sambuca's, Red Cat Jazz Cafe, all of the kind of live music spots, Sullivan's. So, yeah, I started that.
So you're going to make me, and I'm sure a lot of the audience members, a lot of my boss fam, they're going to go back to that season where Ruben was there and watch. Okay. Because I missed it, and I know that's what I'll be doing tonight when I get home. I'm going back to watch because I missed that. Yeah. And I was watching, I remember, I think toward the end when Ruben was, it was toward the end of that season. It's kind of when I tuned in. So I might have missed you,
and you would only
I'm definitely
see,
going back.
The only time they kind of showed me, I was like practicing in the bathroom at one point and then talking to some friends or whatever. But that was really it because I didn't get to the final part. But it was a great experience. Right. Yeah.
Do you remember the song that you sang?
What did I sing then?
You remember the audition song?
I do not remember. The audition song was Whitney Houston. The one about the kids. I can't remember. About the world.
Not We Are the World. No, that's Michael Jackson. And
why am I forgetting the song?
I believe
about the children and yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe the children are our future.
I believe the children are our future. Yes.
Okay.
That was the audition song.
Okay. Thank you, media manager.
Yeah. Okay. Good memory.
Right. What is your favorite genre? Do you have a favorite genre? R&B, pop, soul, gospel?
Gospel is my favorite because gospel really does heal.
It does.
It really is that music that can pull you out of the trenches, the gutter, the depression, the sadness. So that's my go-to.
That is so true. I was listening to gospel and praise all the way to the studio today because I was in standstill traffic.
Right.
And I was just like in a zone of, oh my God, help me, please. And I was a little antsy because I hate being late. So yeah, that was definitely my go-to today. And it relaxed me.
Yeah.
It relaxed
brings
me.
a peace.
Yes. So that was great. So today, thus far in your adult career, what has been your absolute best performance where, you were just happy, it was great, the audience engaged, everything went without a hitch? And then what was your worst performance and what went wrong? Or if you had a worst performance?
Oh, of course.
Share both.
So it's crazy to say it, but my best performance was Halloween, October 31st, 2020.
Okay. Oh, 2020.
2020, best performance. I was coming off of a really, really difficult time, and I think at that point, God just released something in me to where I just let it go. And I even bust out in a gospel song, which was not planned, that really just released what I was going through. And then probably the worst performance, which I can remember, is December 15th of 2020. Okay. And that was only because I had a little bit of Tito's.
Okay.
Nice. And so I got a little loose with my lips. Okay. My Tito's. Yeah.
It's okay though.
Right.
I'm sure you might have felt better after.
I did.
So that's good. That's okay. So that's not really a bad performance at all. That was almost a healing performance in a way.
It really was.
If you look at it from that perspective.
Right. That's how we're gonna look at it.
Okay. There you go. So if you're having a bad day, we kind of touched on it already. We know that prayer, praise, and gospel takes us to a different state of mind. But if you're having a bad day, you're just not in a good mood, you're not feeling well, but you have to perform.
Yeah.
What else do you do to kind of relax yourself and get your mind in a state where you can perform without a hitch?
I mean, gospel is my go-to.
That's just
I have discovered since 2020, which was a horrible year for most, that is my place to go to, because that's all I did during 2020 to get, through the pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic, but to overcome some of those fears.
Yeah.
And then I really like social media, which is weird. Like, you know, if I'm down or something's going on, I like to engage, like go live or something with social media, because your followers really will like uplift you and put you in like better spirits.
That's true.
That's another way.
That's true. That's good. For the longest time, I had an issue with social media at all.
Really?
I didn't like it.
I know.
No platforms, none of them.
Yeah.
I just didn't like them at all.
Right. No, it has its negative
and I said,
side.
okay, you know, I need to get with the program and get more active and get engaged. And so
if you work
I'm out here a little bit.
Yeah, it worked for you. If you work it right, it'll work for you.
If you work it right, it'll work for you.
Yeah.
You're so right. Stage presence. After you've performed, do you go back and say, let me go critique myself, or let me go see what I did that I could have done better, or let me just go see how I'm looking in general? Do you go back and watch your shows and critique yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like the football players watch film,
right?
After the game.
Yeah,
so
you got to, because you got to see where you can do better, or
improvement
areas. Those pants weren't it for on stage, or you know what I'm saying? You got to.
That angle wasn't working for me.
Right.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Because no one's perfect, right?
No.
There's always room for improvement.
Absolutely.
So that's good. So you have a really great band. I don't know if they've been with you for years, or how do you create or find the perfect band? How long have they been with you? Are they new? Have they been with you forever? Or what is your audition process? And how do you find the perfect band members?
Yeah, I mean, it's
gel
tough.
with you?
I know, and that's the part, the gelling. The Goodfellas is actually fairly new to the Brandi Holmes experience. I used to be with a band called The Unit for years.
Okay.
But Gary, who is the drummer of the band, who is also the music director, me and him developed a really good friendship. So in us developing a friendship, it translated well into our business-ship. So it's really his band that he puts together.
Okay.
I've had a few keyboardists come through to kind of see, you know, who do I like, who do I gel with. And so far so good. I've lucked up. Everybody's been, you know, pretty good. Like I have some of my favorites, but I don't have anybody where I'm like, absolutely not, you cannot be on stage with me. But what's very important to me is they all have a ministry, or should I say a gospel background. Most of them all play in church or have played in church, which is super important to me, because I will bust out into a gospel song
and
in
they
no
need
time.
to be able to follow along.
Absolutely. So that's a win. But they're new, but they're good.
So in your band, you have the drummer, you have a keyboard,
bass and guitar. Yeah, and actually 2 keyboards technically. When I perform, I like 2 keyboards. So
okay, wonderful. Well, you guys sound great together. So
thank
it's
you.
the perfect combination.
Yeah.
So this is one of those questions I hate asking, and hopefully yours is short and positive. But then again, we develop and become better people from having adversaries.
Yeah.
How do you handle people around you in your circle, whether they're friends or not, that do not wish you well, the naysayers, the haters, as the young people call them?
Right.
How do you handle them? And have you had a situation that you've had to deal with directly with someone that's in competition with you that just
Well, you know what's
negative?
So crazy? I never know when somebody's in competition with me. Like, if you're in competition with me, I really honestly do not know. Like, because I'm not in competition with anybody.
Exactly.
Like, I really want to see all of us win. And I really do feel like when it's competition, what it is to me is whoever wins is supposed to then open up the door for all of us to now come and win as well. Like, you don't close the door once you get the win. So
right.
But really, I have developed here lately just operating out of love. Like I am so serious about maintaining and protecting my peace at this moment.
Yes.
That I
Very
don't
important.
even want to
Entertain
the
thought.
energy, that there's
Yes.
some negativity. Like if you coming at me with negative, I'm coming back with positive.
Exactly.
And you know, sometimes we just have to think about where is that person in their life to where this
Right.
is how they're operating. What is
Right.
going on with you?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? And
Right.
sometimes you can just fix it simply by operating in love, to whether a self-check, like, wait a minute, why did I do that? Why am I hating? Why am I competing against her? She seems like she's whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it just makes life easier.
Right.
It really does.
That happens a lot when
Yeah.
people don't know who you are, or don't know who we are, or anyone that's dealing with that, not just us. But there's a lot of people that they have unwarranted hate.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know you, they don't know who you are. They see you, they may see you online, and they just dislike for no reason.
Right.
So, and
It's
you're
so
right.
sad.
You know, it's honey is better than, what's the saying?
I know what you're
honey
talking
is
about.
better than salt. Let's just say salt.
Salt.
Sugar. Let's say sugar is
Yeah.
better than salt. Kill them with kindness.
Right.
And how can you dislike someone that's nice and sweet? And
Yeah.
so it's just wasted energy.
It really is.
It's wasted energy. So along the lines of relationships, we're having a really tough time with our millennials, and actually everyone's having a tough time in relationships. It's not just the
Absolutely.
millennials.
It's not.
So what advice do you have, if any, for single men and single women in this day and time?
Oh, Lord, I'll be preaching to myself. So I'm recently divorced, and
Okay.
Lord, just the relationship thing now, it's so scary because your access to any and everybody is at the touch of a finger.
Exactly.
So, and it's just
Right.
different from, back in the day. I think now it's so important to have some type of relationship with God. Like
Very
you got
important.
to be accountable to somebody. You got to
Right.
feel like you're going to disappoint
There's
somebody.
consequences.
Yeah, because
Yes.
when you're making these decisions, it's very selfish. I'm not in my relationship anymore because of infidelity on my husband's hand. But when I just think about the decision that he made, it's like, yo, I'm human. Like,
Yeah,
just like you're a human. You really got to start taking people's lives into consideration when you're
Yeah,
making
of
these
course.
decisions. We've just gotten so disposable. We're canceling culture, soon as somebody mess up. And I really think that you got to really know who you are. And that's a hard thing to figure out when you're a young person, because you're going to bump your head, you're going to make some trial and errors, and then that's really develops into who you are. But if you really just, and I always tell people to read James. James is the best chapter in the Bible to read because it talks about the character of a Christian. If you really start developing those characteristics, then you can really decide, who did God create us to be? Like, how are we supposed to operate as his children? And he gives it to us in James. It's 4 chapters. It's super short. Now, if you can do what it says in that, then you're going to know who you are and you'll be able to operate with love and integrity.
Yeah, I think that is so important to be, like you said, spiritually grounded.
Absolutely.
Have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you feel like you can just do what you want with
Yeah.
no consequences
Yeah.
whatsoever, and it's just a free for all.
Right.
And that's so not true.
Right.
So
right.
not true.
Because you got to pay for those seeds that you plant.
Yes,
You know
you
what
do.
I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. We reap what we sow.
Right.
And my husband's name is James.
Okay.
So he's spiritually grounded. So we talk a
Good.
lot about. He's very proud that his name is James.
Right.
So I'm sure he'll be very happy that you said
dropped that.
about the book of James. Yes. So now, just on the flip side, when it comes to marriage,
Yeah.
what do you think it takes to have that longevity and success in a
Right.
marriage?
Right.
And if you could go back and change anything in your marriage that you mentioned, what would that be?
I think successful marriages, again, grounded on God, but not just grounded on God. There's a true relationship with God, because you can be going to church all day long, but not have a
And
true
still
relationship.
not have that relationship.
with God.
That's true.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
true.
Communication, like everybody says, is key. But I also think setting boundaries is key in a successful
Most
marriage.
definitely.
Right. And really being authentic with what it is. Like sometimes, I know I did in my marriage. I would sugarcoat how I felt because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Or I didn't want to seem like I'm the uncool wife, or that I'm like fussing about everything.
Right.
But now, things that I would change: one, I would date much longer, because I met and married my husband within 4 months. So that's no time to get to know anybody.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, the
And
representative.
They can fake for 4 months, right?
Absolutely.
Or
You
some
can
people
hold
can
out.
do it longer than that,
Right.
actually. And then once they, get in
Right.
there and they just let it all hang out, and
Absolutely.
you're like, what and who are you?
Who are you? Exactly. And then I would definitely take the time to see whoever my future husband is in every season. So I want to see you when you're broke, when you got money, when everybody know you, when nobody know
too.
you, when you're upset, when you're
Mad.
sick. Yeah, and pay way more attention to how you treat your mother, your sister, and just people in general.
Right.
So a lot of things I learned from my marriage for my next marriage on really what to
that's
do.
The way it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
You're
know.
wiser.
Right, much wiser. Now, although I would have stuck it out if infidelity wouldn't have came into play, but that was my deal breaker.
That is a deal breaker. It should be a deal breaker for most.
Cheating and beating, I'm out.
Oh yeah, those two things.
Yeah.
The C and the B.
Yeah.
Intolerable.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. And relative to communication, a lot of people communicate and they think they're doing it tactfully.
Yeah.
But the other person is not comprehending.
Right.
We can communicate all day long.
Yeah.
But if the other person is not comprehending or they don't understand what you're saying, then they're
falling
still
on deaf ears.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to make sure the other person is understanding what we're saying.
Yeah.
Generation X. Are we Generation X? We're X or
Are
Z?
we? I think we're X.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So Generation X.
I didn't forget them.
Versus, I know, right? Look, how old are we?
Right.
What's the major differences between our generation and millennials that you see? Whether it's on love, whether it's on finding a job, whether it's on school. What major differences do you see between our generation and their generation?
Well, I can
do you
say
have
off
nieces,
top,
nephews
I do.
around that age
I
frame?
have a niece. Yeah.
Okay.
And off top, just with this whole Black Lives Matter movement, they are fearless. Like they are out there on the front line taking rubber bullets and gas and the whole nine.
Yeah.
And me, I'd been like, okay, I took one. I'm gonna sit back now. But they are out there day after day. So they are definitely, they're not going to put up with it. You know, I think we kind of were more silent. You know, of course, we knew it was wrong, but we didn't really take a stand against it.
Right.
Now, when it comes to love, I mean, they are loving on everybody. Now, that's where we're different. But we kind of chose one and stuck with it. But they're like, I'm going to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I'm going to do a little bit of this. So they're very open and fluid
too much.
with their love. Now, on the job thing, it's another thing they're different on because social media has come into play and everybody wants to be, you know, Instagram famous and YouTube famous. So they don't think they got to go to college or they don't think they got to work hard.
Or get a 9-to-5, a job.
They're like, I'm going to make this video and I'm going to go viral and all of a sudden I'm going to have.
True.
Yeah, and there's only a small percentage of people that's going to do that. Compared to us, I was working at 13. Like I was out going and getting it and never stopped working since 13.
Yeah.
So they do have a different mindset, but where they have us beat is they are fearless.
This is true. They're definitely fearless.
Yeah.
They're out there. But the area that I don't want them to be fearless in is when they get pulled over by a police officer. We don't want them to be, you know, just kind of do what they say.
Exactly.
And if it's something out of the norm or something that's wrong, fight it later. Get an attorney, fight it later. Do not give them any reason at all to do anything to you. Because all they need is a reason. And sometimes they don't even need a reason.
Right.
They just do what they want to do anyway.
Right.
So we have to be very, very, very careful.
For sure.
So speaking of music, let's go back a little bit to music.
Okay.
Old school jams, new school jams. The lyrics. Major difference in the lyrics, right? These days they're saying any and everything. Some of it is degrading. The lyrics. How do you feel about that?
I don't, because I don't listen. I can't. I am still back in with my Patti LaBelle's and my Aretha Franklin's and
Charlie
all the,
Wilson and Anita Baker.
Oh, Anita Baker. That was my first concert I ever went to at 19, and I was literally in awe. I was just like, her voice is like
her
butter.
Voice.
It just flows out
velvety.
Yes,
right?
It's crazy.
I
But
know.
These kids will never know.
Yeah,
we are not going to be bumping this stuff in 5 years, 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, we're still listening to Luther Vandross and Babyface, and so that is the real music.
I think a lot of the millennials are starting to get a little bit nostalgic and kind of listen to some of the old school music.
Yeah.
And if you notice, a lot of the new school music is sampled from
old school.
The old school
right.
music.
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
think they listen. You know,
a little bit.
Sometimes they'll turn it into something else.
Yes.
But a lot of them, they'll kind of just go back and just listen to it and say, you know, hey, that's pretty good. My mom and dad used to listen to that. That's some pretty cool music.
Right. Yeah, it's the best music.
Yeah. So let's talk about Simply Flawless.
Yes.
Cosmetics. You have a cosmetic line. Yeah. So what all do you have in your line? I know lipstick.
Yeah, lipstick.
And guys, I'm wearing the
Fired
Up today, the Fired Up red, and I love it. And I also have Grateful, which is kind of like the purpley color. I love that. And I'm still waiting on that 24 karat gold that I requested. So
I know. I gotta get on it.
We gotta get on that.
In the mix.
Gotta get on that. So tell me about the items in your line.
Well, I'm mainly a skincare line. So that's where 6 years ago I started off with a skincare line. But when COVID hit, of course, I had all this time. So I was actually had the time to put into developing lip colors. So everything in my line is all natural. It's hand and house made. Me and a girlfriend of mine, we actually sit there and we mix it up together, package it up, and get it sent out. So it's truly, truly made with love.
Fun.
And I'm just excited about it. The skincare has been doing amazing during COVID. I think a lot more people took self-care into consideration. They had the time. So I had a lot of new customers come in and try it, and they are loving it. And then the lip line, of course, it's speaking for itself, literally. It is. Yeah. So I have to get this 24 karat one created. It's going to take a lot of pigment, but it's going to be worth it. So yeah, I'm gonna make it happen.
Do we have a approximate time frame? Look, can we get this in writing?
We got a target date?
Is it going to be like in 30 days, 60 days?
What are we in?
I'll be first in line.
April. Okay, May. We can shoot for May.
Okay, that's my birthday month.
Okay, good.
So I'll be prepared for that. That'll be a really great birthday gift for me.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I gotcha.
What is your inspiration for the names that you give your lip colors? Is there a method behind the titles?
Oddly enough, at the time that I was creating the lip colors, I was going through my divorce. So I was going through the whole emotional roller coaster of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of it stemmed from my emotions at that time. So woosah's an emotion, fired up, because I was fired up.
Yes.
There's one called Fuchsia, which actually was F it.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
It's Fuchsia, grateful. Was in there, unbothered mood. It was all stemming from what I was feeling at that time. Yeah.
That turned out to be a motivator for you in a positive way, right? That is really great. How do you stay abreast of like the latest beauty trends or the latest ingredients or the latest just colors and
Yeah, just
trends
online.
for makeup?
Online, Instagram. I follow some very big influential makeup artists on Instagram and social media.
Okay,
so,
great.
And magazines, who's ever kind of setting the trends. Runway is a great spot to figure out what the trends are. But what's crazy is the trend on the runway is different from the streetwear. We want to be a little bit more bolder with our makeup. We like more edge. And runway is really like a soft, kind of everyday girl, because it's really all about the clothes. But it does kind of keep you abreast on like the newest and latest products coming out. So.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Good. I know you do a lot of faces. Makeup artist. You do a lot of faces. Anyone that we would know? Do you have any
several.
Any big names you care to mention?
favorite one is Nene Leakes.
Oh, cool.
She
Nene is
the
so cool.
coolest. Shantae Moore.
Okay.
Absolutely love her. I've done Kelly Rowland at one point. That was back in the Gap, and I was like, okay, I done made it, y'all. I did. I did Kelly Rowland. I made
arrived.
it. Robin Givens was one of my favorites. She's super sweet, great heart. There's a lot of people. Cheryl Swoops here in Houston, so local
WNBA
WNBA player. But there's a few. But Nene and Robin and Shantae Moore, they're beautiful, sweet women. So they've been my favorite. But Cynthia, I've done Cynthia and
Givens.
Kenya. So I've done a few of the housewives.
Yeah. That is so cool. So cool. That's great. Have you encountered a client that wasn't happy and the face looked great, right? But they were not happy with it. And if so, how did you handle that?
Yes, and it was early in my career, and it was a bride.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was hired for her through a friend of hers who was my regular client.
Okay.
And so when I got to her and was doing her makeup, she said she wanted something really natural, and I was like, okay, cool. So I gave her what is a natural makeup look, because people got to remember how it photographs is going to be different from what you see in person, especially on your wedding day. It's always going to photograph a little bit more faded out when you're with professional cameras. So you got to be a little bit heavy, but even though it wasn't heavy at all. And then she saw it and she just immediately started crying, and she was like, I don't know who I am, and this is too much. And I was like, okay, it's no problem. It's not a tattoo.
Dramatic.
Right. I was like, we can tone down whatever you want to tone down. But she had to walk away and pull herself together over this, and I'm just like, it's makeup. We can make it how you want it to be.
Right.
Now, when I say she wanted barely nothing,
she wanted the bare minimum. Natural.
Yeah,
almost.
No lashes, no foundation, no contour, literally mascara and almost a clear gloss.
Oh,
and I was just like, okay. So I never, caught up with how it went. Then I had another client who wanted natural, and I gave her natural. This time I'm like, okay, I have learned when they say I don't wear makeup, I want super, super natural. But I explained to her, when you take your photos, it's going to look even less than what you're seeing in person. She was like, that's fine. My husband, your future husband, never really seen her in makeup and don't really know if he likes makeup. And I said, okay, cool. And then she called me back 3 weeks later. It's like, I wish I would have listened to you because I look like I have nothing on. I can never redo this day.
Right.
And I was like, I was trying to tell you, you got to trust your makeup artist.
Exactly. Because you guys, you're the professional.
Right. Yeah. And we know what it's going to photograph like. And a lot of times when people are showing us a picture, we're like, okay, I know what I need to do to achieve that in a photo.
Right.
So that's where our mind goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I think it's probably the smart thing to do, which is what I do. If I want to have something like that done, I always have a photo.
Yeah.
When they say, what do you like? And I'll say, I want something like this.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
Right.
And that way they can't say,
Some
well,
direction.
that's not what I wanted. Right. You gave them what they wanted.
Right.
So you can't say it's not what you wanted.
Right.
So, Brandi, you have been great. I could sit here and talk to you all day, but unfortunately,
thanks.
we're running out of time.
Okay.
Would you care to share your information? If anyone wants to get their makeup done, Brandi is absolutely amazing. She's a phenomenal makeup artist. So if you guys would want to reach out to her, you want to supply them with your information.
So you can find me on Instagram. Everything is on Instagram. The way you can buy my products at simplyflawlessbybrandi.com. And if you are interested in booking an appointment with me, my link is on there as well, which is stylesy.com/simplyflawless. And DM me. I try to answer my DMs. They kind of come in a lot, but I eventually get to them. DM me or email me at simplyflawlessbybrandi@gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to take care of your face.
Yes. You guys reach out to Brandi. Again, you've been great. It's a pleasure having you here on the Red Sofa.
Thanks for having me.
And Boss Fam, you guys go follow me at Real Talk Houston. If you have a compelling story, you would like to share that with us, you can reach out to us via at Real Talk Houston. You can also send us an email at realtalkhoustonpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on Roku TV, LD TV. All right. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you again next time. Bye, Boss Fam.